What's up everybody, Danny James here, and today I have an exciting tutorial lined up for you guys. I'm going to be showing you how to do a freeze frame separation effect inside of Adobe After Effects. If you're new here, kindly consider subscribing. I have a ton of other useful videos that you could enjoy, watch, and implement into your other videos. And if you do end up enjoying the content, give this video a like so that other guys with the same interest as you get to watch it. Okay, so I have a composition here. I have 2 clips. To start off, all you need to do at the beginning of your second clip, here's my second clip. I'll duplicate using Ctrl D or Command D on Mac. Right click on your duplicate and go to time and freeze that frame. So it should be 1 frame altogether. So let's rename this freeze frame. And then you can also give it an identifiable color. So let's go with that blue. Again, I'll trim the excess so that it doesn't go all the way. In order to make this effect stand out, you want to push this second clip to your right so that as soon as the first clip ends, we go into a freeze frame just for a little bit and then the video continues. So it should look like this so far, like that. Now on this freeze frame, we need to separate it into 2 subsections or 3. So I'll duplicate this thrice and then I will hide all the other layers. Okay, so you can use this here so that you can only see this clip. So let's create our first selection using our masking tool. Go to full screen and then I will simply go around the top of this car right here. I'll do it quite fast so that we don't spend so much time on this one, and then I'll connect it back. So we have this selection right here. And the reason we are able to see this selection is because we have chosen to view this frame only. Okay, so we have a mask here. Let's rename this freeze frame top so that you can easily identify them. Then let's go to our second part. Let's now highlight on this second area, and then we need to make another selection. I will go with the bottom part right here. So let's go through here, connect here, and then connect it. So I have our second selection. We'll name this freeze frame bottom. Okay, now we have 2 selections. Let me just hide the first one. So we have 2 selections. We've selected the upper part and the bottom part. Now with what we've done so far, we want to now select the third part, which is the middle part of the car. Now instead of doing it manually, we'll copy the other masks and put them as subtraction mask. So that should be quite easy. So I'll hit M on this one, copy that mask, paste it to our freeze frame 3, hit M on the second mask and copy it on the freeze frame. So I'll hide these other layers. Let me just hide them manually and then I will show this one. So we've copied the other masks to this one. I'll put them on subtract and bam, now we have the remaining part without doing any extra work. Now just click on all your freeze frames. Let me bring them back, hit M twice, and then let's increase the feathering just a little bit, about 10. That's good. Hit U to collapse all the layers, and then let's rename this other one freeze frame middle. Okay, so we have a good selection right here. To complete this effect, we just need to add a few keyframes for position and it should be done. So let's begin with the upper part, the top. Let's hit P, add a keyframe for position. So our eventual keyframe is that one, so I'll squeeze it to the right, and then in the beginning I'll squeeze it to the left like this. It might have better visual interest. Yeah, it should go like this and connect back. So I'm gonna do the same for the other parts. Also remember to put your keyframes on easy ease, and then let's go to this other one, hit P, freeze frame bottom, hit that position, and then I'll squeeze it to my right, and then in the middle I'll change the value. For this one I'll take it down so it will appear from the bottom. Put them on easy ease. We'll adjust the timing of these keyframes later. Let's just animate this look. The top part, let's add a keyframe for position, squeeze it to the right, and then in the middle we can squeeze it to our right hand side so that they can come from opposite angles like that. Now that's a clean look. Put them on easy ease once again like that. Now let's just preview this animation, the sketch as it is. Okay, So what you want to do to pull this off, you need to make sure these keyframes don't come together at the same time. So for this middle part, maybe I'll make sure it comes last. So I'll set those keyframes to come right after the other ones here. So they should all come separately. Okay, so I'll make sure these other clips come up to this end so that they are all visible within this duration. And then just to finish this off, I'll squeeze this other clip. Let me just, okay, I'll squeeze our second clip so that it starts after that. So once you've done all of these, let's re-enable the other clip so that you can see and preview this transition as it looks. So you can see everything looks good, but when I come right here, I can see that something doesn't check out. So you can see the middle part is at the very top of everything else. An easy trick to do here is to place this layer below the bottom freeze frame, and just like that, that has been cleaned up, and if you play it back, everything should look good. Yeah, so that's a really good effect and a better way to transition your clips without using the typical freeze frame techniques. Now I'll show you a different scenario. Maybe let's use a different shot whereby the clip doesn't look like this. Maybe you're working with a performance footage, you have people singing in front of the camera. Now let's look at a second scenario. So this is a performance shot with a squad, and then the second clip, it's a performance shot on top of a car. We'll just do the same thing that we've been doing. At the beginning of this second clip, duplicate and then right click on it and freeze that frame. Now on this frozen frame, reduce the timing and then squeeze this other clip right here. And then we need to draw a mask around these subjects. So I'll draw a mask right behind, follow the outline of the car and the subject till the end. So I won't show this because it will take a bit longer. Okay, so I've made a rough selection around the subject. So let's name this freeze frame 1 top. Let's name this freeze frame top. So this should be our upper side. So let's duplicate it and then subtract that mask to get this other mask. So Ctrl D to duplicate. Let's rename this freeze frame bottom and then hit M, put the mask on subtract. So we have the full mask right here. The reason I wanted us to do this second example is so that you could see a variation of what you could do with these. Let's add keyframes just as we said. So let's start with the top part, hit P and then make that the end result, and then in the beginning let's drag this up. Okay, and then I'll make sure this comes second right before the transition ends, and then put the keyframes on easy ease. For this bottom part of the freeze frame, which has the subjects, I'd like us to sauce it up just a little and show you a variation of what you can do. So go to your effects and presets. Let's look for an HLS, something to play around the colors. Go to the effect controls, add a keyframe for hue, hit U here so that you can see that keyframe. That should be our last result, and you'll also make sure that it comes right before this other one begins coming in, just as I showed you. And then in the beginning, make sure it rotates through different hues. It should look like this, and it should change up as this freeze frame appears. Now let's also add something else. Let's go to your effects and preset, look for glow, just something to give it an identifying, something to play with the viewer's eyes. You can use the default threshold. You're going to change around the intensity, just lower it a little bit. So that's good. Now let's keyframe this intensity so that it goes up to 0 and there shouldn't be any glow. So I'll add a keyframe for intensity. It should begin at 0.6, looks like a good point, and then at the end it should go up to 0, and then I'll squeeze that keyframe so that it comes at the same time with the HLS. Put them both on easy ease. Let's now add keyframes for position, but before we add a keyframe for position, I also want to show you something else. Let's add a keyframe for scaling. Delink these values so that you are able to scale from the x-axis or the y-axis. So delink that, add a keyframe for scaling, squeeze that keyframe to your right. We can also align it with the other keyframes. So here it is. We've lined it up with the others, and in the beginning we want to change this one so that it compresses towards the x-axis. So it starts at 0 from that perspective to 100. Put it on easy ease also, Now the last keyframes we're adding is for positions so that they can align with the rest. So I'll render at a third. Once again, sorry about that, my computer is frying. So let's add a keyframe for position now. Add that keyframe. I'll also hit you so that you're able to see other keyframes. And then this will be our last result. Put it right there. And then at the beginning, drop it down. So this one, we're going to drop it down like that. And then put that keyframe to the beginning. Put it on easy ease. Now let's preview this animation as it is and see if you guys like it. It looks good, but for some reason I'd like the glow to remain throughout the sequence. So let's just go to the keyframes for the red giant, the universe glow. Let's disable the intensity so that it stays at 0.6 throughout, so that they stay glowing until everything connects and it goes on usually. So let's preview that quickly. Yeah, so I like it better that way, and I hope you get the gist of it and the basic principles. I'm just trying to give you different styles which you can play with it so that you don't just have one way of going through this. Also, one more thing before wrapping this up, I can see that evidently this second freeze frame which comes from up doesn't look identical to this one. I'd suggest just copying the glow effect. Since it doesn't have any keyframes, just copy it to that top side so that they are a bit symmetrical. You see now, instead of looking like this one is glowing, this other area is normal. This is our final result. Yeah. So that's very smooth and symmetrical in all aspects. Yeah, so that's it from me today. I hope you enjoyed that tutorial. I just wanted to give you a few insights on the different things that you can do with freeze frames, apart from what you've typically seen in my other videos or maybe videos from other content creators. My name is Danny James. See you in the next video. Peace.